We're here today to talk about A Fate Inked in Blood. I know we've both read it. I think you finished it right after I finished it. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like that too far of a difference. So for those, this is the beautiful book again. It's amazing. So what were your thoughts on the book like when you first started reading it?
So, I mean, I thought it had a pretty strong beginning as far as the main character, Freya, right? She's had a very strong personality. She knew who she was, but she was just kind of going with what life had dealt her, but she wanted more. And you thought in the beginning, okay, this person is going to be really sure of themselves. They knew what they
Yeah.
wanted. So it kind of was like, okay, well, now this is getting to going. She wanted to be this warrior, this strong, female individual in a situation where she wasn't allowed to. And I liked how it started. Now, I did feel like it kind of had its ebbs and flow with her. As it kind of all unfolds, you kind of realize that I don't think she really knows who she is. She just kind of
Yeah.
is who she feels everybody else wants her to be when people treated her like crap. And she had this almost martyr self-sacrifice superiority thing that she knew more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really frustrating. So I had kind of mixed feelings with the main character. You had moments where you were like, okay, I'm really going to love her character. And then it's like, really, you really let me down.
Yeah. I agree with that. In the beginning, I was like, okay, we're getting a badass female. We're getting a woman who's coming out the door. She's strong. Obviously, this is our review episode and not our discussion episode, so I won't go into spoilers. But there's a big scene in the beginning of the book. You're like, yes, she's a badass. Like, I love her. And then, like, a couple chapters in, you're like, no, why would you do that? It's like reverse course. She's like, back up. It was
So
like,
frustrating.
yeah, every time it's like she took one step forward, it was two steps back. So I'm kind of like, oh, and it's the martyr complex. I wrote that, that was one of my dislikes about her was the martyr complex. And in my opinion, gullibility. I think she's very gullible and naive.
No, naive would be one, but also just the fact that she doesn't question anything. And I feel like she doesn't take the time to really
Yeah.
go and research and kind of figure out what is actually going on.
Yeah.
And then I feel like she's all over the place because one minute she's totally against this one group of people and saying, oh, maybe there's more to this, and let me see what's going on, and kind of supporting her what should really actually be happening. But then when she has an opportunity to do it with somebody who's going to support her and 100% be there for her, she's like, oh, you're so horrible, and she goes and backs the wrong person.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to get into too much details because we'll save that for the discussion, but I agree with that. It's just, and that's where I said gullibility. Like, she believes the first person who's telling her something, and then somebody else can say, well, no, this is actually what's going on. And she's like, well, no, I was told this. And it's like she's trusting this one person at face value, but this one person, everything they're doing is for their own personal gain. It's not to help everybody out. It's to help themselves out only.
And that's why I like Bjorn.
Oh, I love Bjorn. Oh, okay. Can we just pause? Everyone talks about Rhysand being their book boyfriend. Bjorn. Rhysand, in my opinion, holds no candle to Bjorn. Bjorn is like loyal to a T. He's been loyal from the first second. And then the way he's described. Come on, I would not even look at Rhysand because Bjorn is described so beautiful.
I'm with you.
He's super, super loyal. Like, and he's willing to do anything in order to make her happy, whether that's being a friend, being a lover, being a mentor, being, a teacher. Like, he just wants to be there for her in whatever way she wants him. And I'm like, okay, I love that, because not once did he ever pressure her And I think that was great. So we're not going to dive in too much into the details, you guys, but Bjorn is the main male character. Freya is the main female character. Um, and their dynamic in the book is so good. This is not an enemies to lovers. This is not a fated mate. This is not one of those books, okay? There is a romance element, but that's not the focus in this book. I do think a romance element might be more focused in the second.
Well, I think they have there is a connection, or
Oh, definitely.
there is a connection as far as what he has a predetermined purpose essentially, but
Yes.
there's a lot of details that have not come out about what really what his growing up environment was really like. There is a lot of rumors of what happened and everything. So I think once his whole story comes out, if that's going to kind of shed some light into where he kind of ties in with her, I think it's a little bit more than, oh, they both fell for each other. Obviously, you're dealing with, Nordic kind of god mythology. Yeah. So there is going to be that element where there is that type of, I don't want to say supernatural connection. It's something.
They're connected.
It ties into the gods, right? So
yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, anybody reads the back of the book, like she is a child of the god. Oh gosh, what's her name? I have it right here. The goddess Helm, who is the goddess of protection, and he is a child of Tyr, who is the god of war. Now, how they become children is not how you would think, so I'm not going to spoil it. But it's not like Hercules, okay, you guys? These are like these gods; they just have a drop of the god's blood in them.
It's not Nephilim.
Yeah, so you would have. We'll talk in detail more in the discussion episode, where you find out how people become children of the gods. So, they're both children of the gods, so they do have that connection there. So at the end of the day, they're always going to have a connection one way or another, right? Whether it's good or bad, they're going to have a connection. But the one thing, so that I put in for my likes, and I'm going to read it, is I liked that Freya did have the drive to get better, right? Like, because she has always wanted to be a warrior and she's learning to fight. So she's taking it serious. Like, she is driven to get better as the story progresses, which I liked that. Bjorn's loyalty and patience with Freya, because dear God, he needed it.
I can't say enough about him. I can't say there's anything I disagree with. I think that, yeah,
the twist at the end, which we will talk about in the next episode, so we will not give spoilers on that. But the things I disliked Freya's lack of logical thinking. She was just not logical. She was making decisions on an emotional impulse versus a logical.
Which is funny because in the beginning, you got the feeling of something else, that she would have been the logical person, the more thorough individual that would really kind of look at everything. And then as it kind of plays on, you're like, are you serious?
Yeah.
This is not what's happening.
I mean, my love and hate for her was a roller coaster throughout the book. Like, I loved her at parts, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, you stupid bitch. In other parts. And then I'm like, yes, you get him, girl, and it was like,
it was frustrating at times. Yes, and I think that was probably my biggest gripe. I mean, was her character.
I think this kind of leads to a lot of authors writing these main female characters between 16 and 20. And you and I have talked about that. Now, I get it with this time era. She's only 20, right? And back in those days, people didn't live past 40. So in that time, she's middle-aged, right? Essentially, if you think about it. But still a little naive. Like, she has never really left her village. And so she doesn't know a lot. She just knows and trust everything that's been around her. So I think that's part of the problem of her lack of logic thinking and just acting on emotions and things like that.
Well, I think that also has to her having this almost very subservient personality where her entire life has been to serve other people and just to take it. And she doesn't,
Yes.
she has all these strong opinions and that she feels are right in comparison to others, but yet she
Yeah.
doesn't back it up.
Yeah. So another disliked was Bjorn not being honest when it mattered.
Mm-hmm.
So there were moments in the books where him being honest would have saved a lot of headache.
I think in more towards the middle when they started developing their relationship, when they were talking about like what
Yeah.
rights and wrongs and truths and whatnot, I think that would have been the golden opportunity for him to kind of open up and really say what's going on. And I think she would have sat there and done it with him. But um, I don't know if no, I'm not going to say that because I feel like that was giving away too much. Never
Really talk more about the spoilers, but I'll just leave off that there was definitely more than a few times that his character could have been more open and honest with Freya. So I'll just leave my thought on that.
will.
So for spice level, for those wanting to read this, I would give this a spice level of about 2. What would you give it, Britt?
A one-ish, one and a half, if maybe.
Okay, a 1-ish. As far as spice level, I give it a 2. I was gonna go a little bit lower, but there is a scene that does end up a little bit more graphic. So that's the only reason I gave it a 2. Because it was more or less like 1 to 2 scenes. I feel like 1 on spice level is like, oh, kissing, making out, maybe. 2 is like, there's definitely sex. May not be the most descriptive, but there's sex. 3 is it is descriptive. 4 is it's very descriptive. And there's a bit of it, and 5 is like the whole book is smut. So I would say it's a 2 because there was definitely like sex, but it wasn't super detailed and
Yeah, that's
wasn't a
why I'm
lot.
kind of caught in between like a one and a two, somewhere in the middle between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say yeah, around there. So, but the 2 is the highest that I would give it. So that's where I put it at 2 just in case, because some people might view a 3 as a sex scene and a 2 as making out and a 1 is kissing. You never know. So
It's subject to somebody's
yeah.
own person.
So, but overall, what rating did you personally give the book?
So I was kind of caught between a three and a four. Did I enjoy the book? Yes, I did. I think I just was so frustrated with the main character.
Yeah.
But I feel like it had really strong bones. I think that could some things maybe have been altered so it didn't kind of ebb and flow so much, and maybe had the main characters full personality and just everything that she stood for kind of solidified so she knew who she was by the end, or close, at least semi know who she was. Some
Yeah.
consistency with her. I probably would have rated it a little bit higher than like a three and a half ish.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it a 4. Because it's a book I'll reread again.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, the bones is there. I thought the storyline itself was really good. Had Freya's character not driven me so crazy, I might have actually given it a 5. Because I did really enjoy the story. And like I said, Bjorn is now the new book boyfriend. I love his character. And I love Norse mythology, so I think that's why I really rated it higher than like 3 or 3.5. Is I love how Danielle incorporated Norse mythology, and you could tell she definitely did research. So that's what I liked about it, and that's why I'm giving it a 4. And I hope that it progresses and it continues from there. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my kids are like smashing their face in the windows over here.
All right. Well, I think it's time to wrap this up, and you and I will then meet up and we will discuss all the spoilers in the book in
Yes.
detail and the scenes we liked and disliked. So, if you guys have not read this book, definitely recommend it. And if you have read it and you're listening to this, let us know your thoughts. Do you agree with us? Disagree? Would like to have a conversation about it. So, bye.
Until next time.
Yes, bye.